Hi everyone! Welcome to Just Stripper Things. Today I will be talking about my experience with establishing and enforcing boundaries while dancing. As I mentioned in my first video, while this is integral to being a sex worker of any type, for some it may take a bit of practice. You know, most women are conditioned throughout their entire lives to be nice, to not offend the ever so delicate sensibilities of very fragile men who can't take any tiny, teensy weensy little minor rejection. This can be exacerbated when you work in customer service, which also tends to be a very woman-dominated field. I came from a retail background before I started dancing, so it was a bit of an adjustment to go from the customer's always right to the customer's probably an asshole and is gonna get his ass kicked out by the bouncer, if there is one. Either way, we'll make you leave, okay? It was kind of an awesome adjustment once it happened, going from being absolutely powerless against abusive customers to having the final word and control is straight up empowering. It was awesome. While a lot of people tend to believe the common stigma that sex work is degrading, no one thinks about how degrading customer service can be. I have felt more powerless and degraded in the service sector than I have in much worse situations when I was dancing, because I knew who had the power in the situation. And most, it was me. Things that happened when I was a rookie did lead to a bit of a learning curve, of course. When I was doing my first week at the Drake in Vancouver, I had this guy come up to me and start chatting, yada yada. And when he came up to talk to me, he shook my hand. And just didn't let go of my hand. It was the most awkward thing. And since I was brand spanking new, I didn't really know how to react, and I didn't realize how I should have handled myself. So he kept holding on to my hand and talking at me. I was trying really hard to be nice. Yeah, sure, okay, yeah, uh-huh. And then he lifted my hand up and licked it. Snatched my hand way right then and there. That's where I drew the line. That was it. I beelined it out of there. I went to the bar to get a drink and made a comment to the bartender about what happened. I think I asked him if it was okay if we could just kill the customers. And he offered to get the shotgun from behind the bar. I washed my hand excessively and learned a valuable lesson. I don't have to be nice if they're not. I don't have to be nice if I have a bad feeling. I don't have to be nice if I don't want to. At one point, my nickname, instead of Sasha Sexiana, was Such a Bitchyama. It was kind of like an inside joke on the forums and such, but I really loved it. Years later, I was in Nanaimo at this club that I worked in pretty regularly. I got along really well with the DJs there. They were really awesome. It was really dead for my first show. Like, there were 3 people in front row. And I don't even remember if there were people at the tables, because really with the way that the club was set up, you couldn't really interact with the people at the tables anyway. All your interaction and the applause and, you know, that giving back and forth of energy thing that makes the show fun, that was all with the people sitting in front row. So that kind of makes a really big impact. One of the guys off to the side, he was really fun. He was really enjoying getting like a private show, because the other 2 guys were sitting there with their arms crossed like this. I swear their faces were pouting. They just looked angry to be there. Like, why are you angry to be in a strip club? Why are you angry? What? Why the fuck do you look like someone shit in your cereal this morning? Come on, Jesus. Every time I came to that side of the stage, I'm just like, So it finally got to me, especially since they didn't even clap between songs. So I go up to them, I'm like, what? You see a beautiful woman get naked every day? Actually, yeah. That's nice. Then why the fuck are you here? Well, he grumbles at me about his girlfriend being out of town. I try to remind him to be grateful for the fact that he can be here, and maybe he should just not take out his bullshit on me. It turns into him and his friend trying to yell at me and blah 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 blah. I'm a stripper, I'm not allowed to talk, right? Sometimes, I swear to God, when you talk back at them, they're like, it talks. This isn't my blow-up doll from home. Why is it talking at me? Oh, God. Well, we go back and forth, and as I said, they start yelling at me, and next thing you know, you hear across the entire room, because he's on, I'm like, if you don't stop arguing with my dancer, you are out of here. Yes. Some clubs enforced very strict rules and made sure all the staff did as well. At the Fox in Victoria, which was one of my favorite places ever, you may remember it from such times as the last video we did where me and Jen talked about it excessively. Yes, yes. The rules were so clearly posted all over the club. You couldn't even get past the front doors without seeing signs all over the fucking place. No cell phone pictures, no cell phone pictures.
No cell phone pictures.
You know, there's a reason we do this shit under not our real names. Yeah. Fuck's sake. If we wanted that shit all over the internet, we would. Often, you would hear the DJs telling people to put their phones away or have them confiscated. Unfortunately, most clubs towards the middle of my career didn't have bouncers anymore. This is when it kind of started shutting down, like a lot of the clubs started shutting down, the industry was kind of in this decline, so a lot of places cut back their hours, they cut back their shifts, they would cut shows, and of course, like, one of the first things that you cut is the bouncers, because that makes sense, yes? Yes. And many out-of-town places, like the smaller places, they never had bouncers to begin with. So would only have them in the evenings or weekends. So the bartenders and DJs were basically your second line of defense. Your first line was always you. Most people behaved. Most people understood the rules, and they knew how to respect those rules and the dancers' boundaries. Sometimes the outliers would get a bit bold after a couple of drinks and try to pull some bullshit. Most times, it was easily managed. I already had good reflexes because being bullied in high school kind of helps with that. The common thing was people like grabbing onto your ankle when you're crawling along the stage, because that makes sense, right? The fuck are you thinking? You know we wear 6-inch heels, right? Like, at least 6-inch heels. So the moment you feel that hand grab onto your ankle, you kick back as hard as you can in that general direction. That would usually discourage it pretty quickly. I had one incident which was probably one of the worst ones, honestly. It was in Gibson's, in this tiny little place that was like literally in the middle of nowhere. When another dancer friend of ours was going there with me and my best friend, she's like, "So is there a jam?" No. We just told you that we take a cab from the ferry to the grocery store, load up on groceries for the fucking week. because it's in the middle of nowhere. We told you it's in the middle of nowhere, right? Like, you have to pay an extra tip to get pizza delivered because it's in the middle of nowhere. So, do they have a gym? Yes. You go outside into the literal forest and lift logs. So it was a super tiny place in Gibson's, and one time I worked with this bartender that I feel like I never worked with her again, and I never worked with her before, and things didn't go so well. There were these guys in front row that seemed kind of rowdy. A person's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then they started being really verbally awful. And I tried to ignore them, and I tried to ignore them. And then finally one of them goes, what do your parents think? Trying to ignore them. Come on! What do your parents think? And he just kept yelling it at, like, really loud. Like, there's no way the bartender didn't fucking hear him pestering me, badgering me like that. She just didn't give a fuck. So finally, me being none the wiser and just having a big mouth and having that constant hope that somehow people will come back to some kind of core of decency inside them when you tell them something like, I haven't spoken to my father since I was 16 and my mother is dead. No, there was no tiny shred of decency within him, because then he goes, oh, what do you think they'd think? Okay, we're done here. We're done here. So I couldn't just walk off the stage because I didn't want to not get paid for that show. Just didn't want to get into that hassle. So I decided to finish my show with my back to them. And of course, one of them grabs my boot and I try to kick back. It's always very disappointing when you don't feel a connect with anything. And I think they usually see it coming. So I finish up my show. I take all my stuff, I put it in my blanket, I put on my little dress or robe or whatever the fuck it was that I had. And I always had a glass of water with me, because I overheat really easily, so I get thirsty. So I had this little glass of water with me on stage while I was dancing. So I grabbed my stuff, I grabbed my glass of water, I walk right up to that table, I throw the water in the dude's face, turn the fuck around. As soon as I turn around, I feel a glass, an actual glass, go past my head. I am at this point so fucking angry that I'm in like fight or flight, and in that particular instance, it was fight. So this doesn't scare me. I just retort back, nice fucking shot, asshole. Try out for the basketball team. I go upstairs and fume, and of course I tell Jen about it. And she goes, she does a show, she comes back and she tells me that the bartender wanted her to tell me that I have to pay for that drink. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Pay for the water that I threw? You know, the free water that I threw at him? Sure, I'll pay for that free water. Well, they started a fight in the parking lot. So I called the police. And then the bartender tried to give me shit because, well, now there's police in the parking lot. No one's gonna come to the club. And I'm like, well, if you had done your fucking job, I wouldn't have had to call the police. It's not my fault that these guys are causing a fight in the parking lot. I think my actual response was something to the effect of, not my problem. If you had done your job, they wouldn't be fighting people in the parking lot. These are my numbers. Put me on. And basically for the rest of however long I worked with her that week, it was just 3, 14, 18. Give me my CD. That's it. I'm just gonna say this right here, like, if you have issues with dancers, you should not work in a fucking strip club. I I know how hard it is to find jobs, and I know that sometimes you end up not doing a thing that you really like, but when you're in that position, you're part of our support. You're supposed to be watching out for our safety. So if you're not gonna do that, if you don't give a fuck about our safety, that's fucked up. Like, I'm sorry, but no, you don't get to mess with that just because you have some issues with dancers. No. Get out. Get out. Go. I don't care. Okay? I don't fucking care. One of the more fun things about dancing and stupid-ass customers is making them leave. That was one of my favorites. One time when I was at Mugs, it was a pretty good crowd, kind of in the middle of the day sort of thing. And this guy was sitting front row, and he, from basically my first song, was going, "Come on, smack it! Smack it! Yeah, smack it!" Ugh. I believe my first response was, no, I don't take requests. The DJ takes requests. I don't think he's gonna do that. It was like I didn't say anything. Like, I was his blow-up doll at home, you know. And he kept saying the same thing over and over. Still, smack it! Yeah, come on, smack it! Finally, I just got so fucking sick of this dude. I'm like, hey, you, yeah, you. What do you do for work? No, seriously, man, what do you do for work? What do you do? What's your job? Okay. And he wouldn't answer me, so, mind you, this was classist of me, and it's kind of shitty, but I've grown since then. I was like in my early 20s. And so I'm like, okay, fine. So when you're flipping burgers, I don't come in and tell you how to flip the burgers, do I? No. Oh, no, I do. Of course, being accused of another job that people have high opinions on makes him really upset. No, I don't do that. Of course it does. Of course that upset him. Still wasn't cool on my part. He tries to tell me what his job is by this point. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Moral of the story is, I don't come into your place of work and tell you how to do your fucking job, so you don't get to come in and tell me how to do mine, okay? That's the moral of the story, asshole. And this really upsets him. Now he heard me. He finally heard me. He, goes to drink his beer really, really quick. He was like, oh, this stripper sucks, man. We're leaving. I'm like, bye. Oh, no. Oh, we'll miss you so much. I had a much better show after that. I do love how he tried to convince everybody else that was there. This stripper sucks. He said it real loud. The rest of the crowd is like these just working class middle-aged guys that are like, whatever, dude, bye. This is only more fun when you're not antagonizing the dancer, because then we can all have fun, because if I'm having fun, I'll do a better show and I'll interact with the audience more. If you make it a bad time for me, it's not gonna improve things. No, the show is not better if the stripper is crying. The stripper is going to wrap herself in her blanket in the middle of the stage and go, fuck y'all. No way. No. I'm not taking another piece of clothing off until you stop. I did that once. It was a very extreme situation. These guys were about to start a bar fight. This fucking idiot in Chilliwack was, you know how some people turn into complete assholes when they're drunk? Well, this was one of them. Before I'm even on stage, he's like putting his empties on the stage. Not on the little bar area below the stage. Like, here's the little bar area where you put your drinks. Here's the stage. No. He wants to have some elbow room, so he's putting his empties on stage. And I'm kind of looking at this going, nope. That shit's on the stage. When I get up there, I am not doing shit. I am not going on that stage until that shit is off that stage. No way. Of course, the poor server rushes. I didn't say to her. I'm not that much of a jerk, okay? But it was clearly not safe to have empty glasses and like beer bottles on the stage where a person is dancing around in fucking stilettos. So she rushes over and she gets it off. So immediately I hate this dude. Fucking hate this dude. And he's being loud and obnoxious and, you know, of course he's sitting front row, but he's too good for front row. So he's like, oh, I'm not even paying attention. I'm a fucking jackass. I don't even know why, but he, in the middle of my show, decides that he's gonna start a fight with these two really quiet young guys. For reasons? I don't know, man. I don't even know why he wanted to start this fight. Probably because he's an asshole. So he starts going on about, oh, I'm gonna fight them, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna kick your ass, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, no. He gets up out of his seat, and I'm just like, okay, nope. I take my blanket, and I wrap myself in it, and I lie down. And I literally said, not one item of clothing is coming off until he sits the fuck back down in his seat. Okay? Okay. Well, it was pathetic how long I had to keep explaining it over and over. Because at first these fucking jackasses were booing me for doing this. I'm like, nope, don't blame me, man. All he has to do is sit back down in his seat. That's all he's gotta do. If you want to see me naked, tell asshole to sit the fuck down. That's all that's gonna happen. And I remember at one point, one of the guys, I think he was like at my head at this point, because I'm literally lying down on the stage wrapped in my blanket. He goes, wow, you're really stubborn. Yeah. I'm Polish, and I'm a woman, so yeah. Yes, I'm stubborn. I kind of have to be. Because, when you're a woman trying to tell dudes what to do, you have to be stubborn, because they're not going to fucking listen to you. Most of them will not listen to you, just on the basis that you're a woman. When you're a woman that gets naked for money, the respect goes way down, so they're even less likely to listen to you. So you find really creative ways of making them listen. My absolute favorite actually was making the entire audience turn on the rude person. One time when I was at the Penthouse, there was this guy sitting front row chatting on his cell phone throughout pretty much my entire show. Oh, yeah, I'm so much cooler than everybody here because I'm like actively not paying attention. Yeah, that's how cool I am. Rude. I don't like rudeness, okay? So, at one point, I just kind of come down and I turn to the guy sitting right beside him. I'm just like, man, you know what I really hate? You know when you're at the movie theater and you're watching a movie and some asshole is on his phone. Like, you're just there trying to enjoy a movie and this dude is just fucking ruining it for you by jabbering on his phone like an asshole. Don't you hate that? And then the guy laughs. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. Me too. I'm pointedly looking at dude on the cell phone, of course, by this point. Because I'm an asshole. Yo-de-yo, yo-de-yo. A-S-S-H-O-L-E. Everybody now. So, the guy that I just talked to, he's in there and he's kind of laughing to himself, and buddy beside him. They start laughing. So, this kind of washes over the crowd. And all of a sudden, like, everybody has figured out why. We're all looking at this dude on his cell phone and laughing at him. There's that magical moment where pretty much everybody in front was just looking at this guy like, you idiot. He was so confused. It was kind of great. I once had a guy who, I don't remember, I think he was doing something like, oh yeah, shake it, shake it, shake it. I'm like, what the fuck you think I'm doing up here, man? Jesus. It was being just annoying. And because it was a small club, like, all the audience members heard what I said back to him. And all of a sudden they were all on my side. They're like, stop it. Stop. Go. Boo. Get. Yay. Vigilante justice! I love vigilante justice. Or do I? I don't know. Moral quandary. So that became more of an enforcing boundaries thing, but one other thing I was thinking about earlier today, actually, was, I guess, the perception of boundaries from people and the perception that everyone's boundaries are the same, because you're all doing the same job. But that's the thing, because there's so many different levels of things that are kind of acceptable in the industry, and pretty much in all sex industries. Like, there's different things that people will agree to and people will not agree to. Not every porn actress does every single act. No, they negotiate, they have stipulations, they have clauses. Well, it's kind of the same thing across all parts of sex work. Like, if you call up a escort service, there are certain services that certain workers provide, and there are certain services that they don't provide. You know, whether it be their own comfort, what they're comfortable with sexually, or what's safe and what's not safe. Because our bodies are living. We have to take care of them. We have to make sure that we are safe and we're able to continue working, because if we can't, not like we can go on WCB, we're independent contractors. So no, like, people just don't get that. And the first time I really encountered it was that first week that I was doing a full week, and there was a bachelor party, and all the bachelor party dudes were super gung-ho about the bachelor getting a private dance. So I guess they gave him money to give me to give him a private show. And at this point, like, as far as I knew, there was, here's this bar, you sit here, I dance here. Well, at some point during the thing, we kind of start chatting, and he's like, you know, I really just, you don't have to dance. They're just pressuring me into this. And we end up having this nice little conversation, and then the song is over, and I thought that was really cool. I don't know what the fuck he told those guys or what they said, because next time that I came down, I had to go through the bar to go to the payphone. Yeah, those existed then, to call my friend who was going to pick me up at the end of my shift. And as I'm walking through the bar, one of the bachelor party dudes, not the bachelor himself, but one of his friends, is like, oh, there's the shy one. I'm getting naked in front of strangers for a living, so what's your definition of shy? What? That's a very broad definition, don't you think? Oh my god. So eventually I learned that some people would do lap dances and such in the thing, and you know what, that's cool. If they want to, they can make really good money doing that, so cool. Doesn't mean everyone's doing it. Doesn't mean everyone's comfortable doing it. Everybody has different things that they're comfortable with. Get through your fucking skulls, Jesus. A lot of my optimism was kind of dashed by customers in some ways, honestly. I know we talked about customers in the last video, and like the good, the bad, the ugly, da-da-da-da-da. It was always, I don't know, it was, I guess I'm easily hurt in some ways, because there were some times where people seemed really nice, and they're like, hey, you want to join us for a drink? I'm like, oh yeah, sure, why not? Free drink. You seem nice. Why not? And I did that once when I was in Kamloops. These two kind of younger guys, and we were sitting there just kind of chit-chatting about whatever, and somehow we get into talking about politics, and I've always had at least somewhat of an interest in politics, social justice, that kind of stuff. I cannot tell you what we were talking about, but I guess I said something that they thought sounded really smart, or I made a good point, or whatever, and they looked surprised. I excused myself shortly thereafter, and I went upstairs and I read my book. I remember having one of the bigger Stephen King books with me at that point. It became almost a joke because one time when I was dancing at Victoria, in Victoria, I was trying to do a reread of Lord of the Rings, and I always had a bit of trouble with the first little bit of it. So at the beginning of the week, I was chit-chatting with one of the DJs who I got along with really well. He was really cool. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to do my reread of Lord of the Rings. I just have to get past the Council of Elrond. That's what I gotta do this week, man. I gotta do that, and then I'm good. And this is always one of those things where I wish I could draw a comic strip or something like that, or somebody could make a TV show where it's randomly a day in the life of a stripper. You walk into the DJ booth. You give him your CD. Okay, which songs are you doing? This number, this number, this number, this number. Hey, did you get to the Council of Elrond yet? And that's the bit. That's the bit that I wanted there. There's always so much silly, dorky shit that you never see. We're just people. We're all so many different types of people, and people lose sight of that because stigmatization and stereotypes paint us all with one brush, and they turn us all into one entity. So stigma robs people of individualism, and when you can't see people as individuals, as having their own humanity, it's really easy to dehumanize them and to treat them like shit. And yeah, that's definitely one thing that I've had some experience with. Shit, this got dark. Why did this get so dark? Alright, well, thanks everyone for watching. I didn't get a chance to say this on the last video because it was kind of like a collaboration thing. I'm still kind of working on my camera setup. I don't have a tripod. Literally, my camera is on books right now. So, to everyone who watched video number 2, I'm really sorry about the floating head monologue, but I just really wanted to get that video over because it was so emotional and blah. So I did not want to reshoot it or anything like that. I just wanted to get it done. I didn't check the camera angles properly because I was just so in my head about talking about the super heavy stuff. So, for those of you who watched episode number 2, what do your parents think? If you got through the whole thing with the floating head, I thank you so much. And I'm so sorry. And, yeah. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a good one. Bye! You can even